Most people manifest from their mind. Here, you remember how to manifest from your heart. I am Rish, and this is Reality Unlimited. Let's drop in. Sandra, so good to finally do this. How are you feeling right now?
Mm. I am feeling calm and present, and also just coming off a wave of feeling a little rushed.
Mm,
So it was beautiful when we got together that we took a moment to just land the plane. And I think that that's such a good teaching for anyone listening, that it's okay that you're moving fast sometimes. Just as soon as you can, land the plane. Just like
uh,
arrive, the beautiful art of arrival. So I feel like I'm arriving in this moment. Thank you for asking. How are you?
uh, I'm glad we did this little breath work before starting. For people seeing you for the first time, who's Sandra Tru?
Hmm. Sandra Tru. Oof, Sandra Tru is a synthesis of a bunch of stories. It's a beautiful character that I've been playing, that I love to play, that has been through a deep dive on the inner exploration of self, and has been abundantly sharing that out into the world as much as she can, and continues to grow and continues to explore what it is to be a full human, and what it is to choose to love, to live life courageously. And this reality, I choose to work as a transformational mentor and speaker. I work with highly visionary, purpose driven people who are ready to create lives from deep alignment and stop living in self betrayal, or whether that is people pleasing, or whether that is not honoring their own timing, or whether that is staying in relationships, or in moments of their journey that are no longer serving their becoming or what their soul is here to do. So moving from victimhood to freedom, that is my mission here in life, to support people in that as I do my own work of moving into greater levels of freedom.
Mm, beautiful. Would you like to take me back to where it all began for you?
I mean, do you want like my childhood story? You want my like I'll take you back to, like, I think what relates to what we're speaking about here, right? We're speaking about the process of like, wow, waking up to who we are beyond our idea of our story, right? A little bit of my background. I grew up in Colombia. Well, I was born in Colombia. My mother and my father separated when I was 4. My mom moved to America, my father moved to another state, so I wasn't with my mom or my dad for my main formative years. I was living with different caretakers. I also didn't live with my brother at the time. He moved in with my grandparents. So it was a very confusing time because the pillars of my life were no longer there. And I was in the houses of people who I loved, my aunt. It was the spaces of their children. So I was like sharing their lives, essentially, kind of coming in into their lives. And every year I would live with a different aunt. So then I had like, I joke that I have like 6 moms because I have that many aunts. And when I was 9, I moved to New York to meet my mom. It was almost before I was 9, and we couldn't connect. We couldn't reconnect. She moved here because she wanted to create a better future for her children. But it was a bond that it was, I would see her once a year. I would see my father every several months. And yeah, I didn't see my father for a decade after we moved to the States. And it was challenging, that feeling from being a child, that I wasn't lovable enough, I wasn't worth fighting for, staying for. That really created this pattern as I became an adolescent and a young adult. And it took me to trusting the wrong people and just looking for validation of for unconsciously, for how that was true. Then I trusted the wrong people as a teenager, as a very young
Mm,
adult, a young girl, young adult, and that took me into years of shame and recovery. And I fell into a really beautiful relationship when I was 18. My mom kicked me out of the house when I was like 17. I love how we laugh sometimes speaking about these things, because it's funny in hindsight. It was the best thing she could have done. Um, but I was on my own in New York City. I was on my own in New York City, figuring it all out. Luckily, because I didn't have the conditioning of family, I just got into do. as soon as I had some money in my hands to do what I really wanted to do, which was to act. I wanted to be an actor. And I put myself through acting conservatory and scene study and script analysis. And I just started doing this deep inner search, because as an actor, you do huge introspective work. You're studying your own traits and characters so that you can easily remove them and take on the character on the page. So there I was doing theater and doing all this beautiful work, working nightlife since I was very young, working all the jobs that you can think, from construction to real estate to hospitality to all the things, just so I can continue to act and continue to do my work. And at the same time, I started in the path of yoga. I was very young, and I started bhakti yoga, and I started going deeper into both practices. One was kind of showing me, oh my God, my personality is not set in stone, because I am practicing these other things for this character, and now I'm feeling this. They're actually being felt, like they're for real. And so I was like, it was kind of messing with my mind of like, wow, I
Would you
don't
like to
have to be
explain
my
this?
story.
Like how
Yeah.
you connected acting and yoga, like what it showed you in similar.
Yeah, I mean, it was so beautiful because I started to figure out that through my practice of yoga, I was also I was doing deep meditative practices. I was going to this really cool place in New York called the Rubin Museum, and having meditation classes with today some of the world renowned meditation teachers. But back then it was just, in a basement of a museum in New York. I had my membership. I went every single week, and I was teaching myself the sutras, and I wasn't learning through information. I was learning through practice, both as an actor and as a yogi. And as an actor, I was learning that I can shift my state. Very powerful thing. I can act as if I don't have to be my story. I can put on another story if I wanted to. And as a yogi, I was experiencing with like, yeah, there is this whole Sandra idea, but there's also so much more. And I was going into these spaces that became like I was having full on DMT experiences without ever doing any psychedelics. I mean, I had, but like I had done them, in school or things like that, where there's a lot of people. So it wasn't like after I did them from a ceremonial place. But I was having full on DMT experiences because I was doing these breath practices for voice work as an actor. And then I would sit down and do my meditative practice. And I was like, oh my God, like I'm going to keep doing it. So I just kept practicing. And so then eventually I had a relationship of 7 years. I was living with my partner at the time, and we separated. We were together for almost 7 years, living together, making a home together. That became like the first time that I felt like I belong, because I didn't feel that in my family. I'd never felt that before. And after that
Mm.
separation, which is how many of us start to have those awakenings, I didn't know who I was. I didn't know what I liked. I didn't know like if I was doing the things I was doing because there were things that naturally I was at, or like because it was what we did. I was so confused that I started to travel alone. And I started to go on this whole journey. I was called to sit with the medicines. I was, this was 2016. There was no one that I knew was doing medicine. Or, well, I was already weird, right? I was into the yoga, nobody
So
was
when
doing
did yoga come in your life? Which year was it? Do you
way
remember?
before that.
Way
Way before,
before
like,
that.
yeah, way before that. It was when I started acting. So, like, six,
Mm.
yeah, like maybe like 2010, early.
Right.
And so then it was like, traveling and sitting with the plants, and the plants started showing me how this was a system. I was like, this could be a system, because I was like in this in between state of like, do I go deep into the acting? Do I go deep into the yoga? I felt like I wasn't getting anywhere because I couldn't give any of them up. And the medicine started showing me how it was like a one system, that we need both. We need to be able to live life devoted to the character that we're choosing to play, designing it, being both the actor, the director, the writer, but also to know that it's just a character, and to have the practice of remembering source as who or essence. And
And that
so,
character is Sandra in your case.
yeah, right.
Uh-huh.
And so that character is
Right.
just like the avatar you get to play.
Mm-hmm.
And as the avatar, we get to choose and design. It took me many years to figure out how to do it, but eventually I went on to study, the spiritual psychology and neurolinguistic programming and a bunch of other energy work and just going deeper into the a personal development realm through both science and quantum physics and psychology. And I've never stopped. So like completely absorbing so much. But I think that the only way to really absorb information is through practice, because if not is just insight. And if you don't practice your insights, they don't become yours. And that's the beautiful gift that both acting and yoga gave me, is that you have an instrument. This is your instrument. Your body is your instrument. And if you don't attune on a consistent basis, right, you have to keep attuning your instrument, then you're missing the mark. Because I believe that our higher patterns of creation, or how you like to call it, inspiration, or your angels or guides, whatever you decide, you're right, right? It communicates through the body, through our senses. And if we are not landing in our full experience, we're missing the mark. Then we're not listening, right? We're not listening to what the emotions, the impulses, the nudges, the omens, whatever you want to choose. We experience it through being fully here. So that's a little bit of my journey.
Beautiful. You went into yoga through your excitement, or it was something that happened in your life?
No, I went into yoga because I really wanted to have a nice butt and be flexible. Little did I know it was going to take me through this portal, because it became the healing mechanism, both that and writing. The moment that my heart was broken, then I showed up every day. God knows how many times I've cried in Shavasana. I was doing Iyengar yoga. I was deep into Iyengar, which like holds your poses a lot and creates really good geometry in the body. So when you organize the body, it goes into natural homeostasis. And for you in order for that to happen, there's a lot of release of energy. And so I was holding these poses with a lot of support, also because we don't get supported enough. So having support can be also for the body, right? Like the body is, to me, till this day, I am obsessed about how incredible it is that whatever happens in our body reflects our psyche, and it has an effect on our psyche. And so here I was, just having this complete releases of energy that was ancient wounding happening in my poses. And then I saw my ex, and she was just starting to go into the process of grieving. And I was good, I mean, I was almost a year later, but she was already just getting into it. And I really felt like I was home. I was on a daily basis showing up for those classes, on a daily basis. Like I would bike to those classes no matter what, as a way to have really good mental, energetic, and spiritual hygiene. And I would write. I think I filled up so many notebooks. I still find those notebooks, think back, and I'm like, oh my God, I was so young and whatever. Like I was not wise at all. But then I read them and I'm like, wow, it's almost like I was writing for me today. Um, but a lot of wisdom can come from introspection, whether, from really feeling the energy inside of your body and holding that, and then to find a channel to release it. And all we need is space, right? And so when we're doing these practices of yoga, it's good to go into like, yeah, sure, I want to be flexible or whatever. But really what we're after is creating space, because there's no pain in space. There's just so whatever you do to get empty, to empty out of whatever tension, energy you're holding inwards, is the best medicine you can give yourself.
What's home for you? You said, I finally came home. So
Yeah, I
how do you
think
define it?
inhabiting myself, like feeling fully incarnated, like fully in my skin, feeling like I know who I am, at least character I'm playing, right? Because like you can
Uh-huh.
possibly know all that you are. It's too great.
Uh-huh.
But to really like own my own story, to own my journey, to know my dislikes, to be familiar with my tendencies, to be clear with my values, to be turned on by my passions, to be shameless about sharing myself, to be specific and committed to my energy so that my boundaries are clean and clear, that my energy is transparent and affirmative. Like, I think that's home in myself, is to really enjoy inhabiting my existence as I am, as I change. I think that to me is like to be home within myself.
And how does that feel?
How does it feel? It feels like energy richness. It feels
Uh,
sometimes uncomfortable because there's a tendency in many of us to play nice and people please. But it's one of the most harmful and manipulative things we can do, to be honest. You know, if you look at being nice and bending your desires and your values for other people, in the long run, is not respecting your own time, your own energy, your own precious way of living, and then building resentment for other people. So to me, it feels like owning my authority, owning my power. It feels like delighting in how I'm growing, even if that's making several mistakes, a lot of mistakes along the way, but liking how you make mistakes, liking how you pick yourself up. It feels like acceptance. You know, it feels
mm,
like rejoicing regardless of what the external world is saying, like still finding endless reasons to be grateful, to be giving, right? To be a good vessel to receive.
Beautiful. So you could let go of all the baggage that we carry from the society, all the conditioning, and really come back to who you truly are.
Yeah.
That's, yeah.
I think that's a beautiful way of putting it. You know, there's a lot of conditioning that I feel like waking up is just a continuation of the practice of removing the layers that have been put
Mm,
on us through our personal experiences, through our wounding, through what we have inherited from our parents and their wounding, and is a continuation of just getting, a deeper layer, and just like really finding the humor in all of it, because the more you go into this work, something that very much happens is that you develop a spiritual ego, right? Michael Singer, he's a teacher that I go to his temple. He's the author of The Surrender Experiment and Untethered Soul. And he has this beautiful temple here in Florida. And every year I go and I stay there for a week or so. And he speaks about the spiritual ego. And it makes me laugh so much because there's a part of us that thinks, I should know better. And it's like, I
mm,
am now I am upset at myself because I should know. Right? Like, how dare I?
right.
Like, but it's the same thing. You're still like criticizing, judging, like not allowing yourself to be with it, resisting the experience. And so I think to mature in our spiritual life is to know that you, first of all, don't know anything, that there's no
Mm,
safety and there's no security, that you can attempt to have all the control in the world and life will still be uncertain because that's its essence. It changes. And that your joy should not be dependent on externals. It should be a continuous investment of your energy towards both today and tomorrow. Something that I'm playing around with is like energy ROI. And it's like, what is our energy ROI? And how do we look at energy just like if it was money, our own energy? How do we
yeah.
when I have my own energy every day, I have an energetic budget and I have this much energy that I have that, to put out in the world. And many of us, we just want to keep adding more things, not knowing that there's also, like you got to give some out. Like if you're going to add more things to your calendar, more people, more whatever it is, you have to also take care of your energy because if not, you start borrowing from tomorrow. Right. And so
Mm,
you start borrowing from tomorrow and then you go into energy deficit overdraft, right? You go into overdraft because and what is that? Burnout. Then you go into your burnout, and little do you know, you stop investing for tomorrow. And for tomorrow,
mm,
you see tomorrow. And so a lot of our energy and how we budget our energy should also be a little bit of investing for our future. And how we invest in our future is to be clear with where our energy is going, to be affirmative. We're spending it. And that means people, activities, how you're training your mind, your environment, like how you're saying, so many of us going to maybe say, it's like, oh, whatever you want. Yeah, sure, I don't mind. I don't know if I like that person. I want to hang out with that person. I want to be on this show or this part. I don't know. It's like, it's okay. And it's like all these things are ways that we drain our energy. Like it's really good to say it's a hell no. Okay, it's a hell no, then it's a hell no. And it's a hell yes, then it's a hell yes. But it's also
mm,
important for us to say, If it's a maybe, it's a hell no. If it's a
Uh-huh.
maybe, it's also a hell no, because it's too precious. Like life is too
Right.
precious to live in blank, blah state. No, we want to be clear, right?
Mm.
It's a gift to be alive. It's a gift where we put our energy.
Mm-hmm.
So when we honor our own calendar, when we honor our own energy and we walk into spaces with that, we are giving permission to other people to rise into their own, what I call lovership more than leadership, right? Lovership.
Mm-hmm.
And so
Wow.
now you can really love. You can do whatever it is that you're doing, but do it fully, do it with meaning, do it with care, because you're charged. You're not trying to extract validation or love from other people because you're empty.
I love the concepts that you come up with, and I find them very interesting. The ROI, the lovership.
Yeah, the power of continued writing. I write a lot for my blogs and my newsletters. And so on a continuous basis, I'm writing and I'm synthesizing, right? Like the power of our writing and having like a consistent, it's a practice, right? It's like I'm taking what I'm absorbing and putting into action in my life. And then it's like you let it go into the snifter of your consciousness, and you drink. I used to cognac for when I worked nightlife, and it was like this giant cup, and you would put the cognac and you would just like smell it and like let it swirl. And like the more you swirl, the more it smelled like a wine. And then it's like,
Mm-hmm.
it's that, it's like, smell it. And you have your own experience of it. You put it
Mm.
into your own experience. Like right now, I'm doing this really amazing finance course. And as I'm doing this finance course, I'm like, oh my God, I am a master of energy. This is amazing. So it gives me these terms, and I'm like, oh gosh, I've been doing this so well in this other area, and mastering my energy and like really being specific about how I invested with my choices. And so it's like we can make everything our own through our environment, and having our ownership over how we think and how we synthesize is a creative process. So yeah,
Yeah,
that's
I
why I
would
keep
love to
writing.
dive deeper into some of the concepts I've written down. And it's interesting. How did finance come for you? Because I see you diving into different aspects of life and then understanding your life through it. So
Yeah.
what's with finance?
Well, we think about, so many people want wealth, and wealth,
Mm-hmm.
the root word of wealth is an English root word. It was pronounced wele. Actually means well-being. And so as somebody that's highly like healthy in every area of my life, it doesn't happen by accident. I invest into it in
Mm.
every area. It just becomes like, okay, I want to put more energy into this bucket
Yeah.
as well, because well-being is holistic well-being, right? It's in every area of my life. So I've been an artist most of my life. I really think that even my work as a coach and as a speaker is an art form. Having the sensitivity to know what is necessary and present, what process, where can I work with this person, what is it that I can add to this person without telling them what it is that important to them, but instead letting them find their own way. Like it's an art form. How can I get out of the way so I can feel the energy and know where does this person want to go? It's an art form. And what happens when you have an artistic spirit, there has been something that I've been working on for years, which is like, I would do it for free. It's just like I would wake up every day. It's like what I love to do, right? It's like what I love to do. I'm so lucky I get to do it. But I'm also thinking about, okay, how do I invest my energy next, right? Like what's the next way of
Mm.
moving energy? Because
Energy ROI.
energy ROI in every other
Yeah.
area, because, you think about reading ancient texts, right? Like it's something that Thor used to say. And for anybody, he was an ancient god, a Greek god, but it's also someone that people say was a previous incarnation of Hermes Trismegistus, right? And one of the things that it's written that Thoth said was that we are here to increase on increasing and expand on expanding. We are nature herself. So, in every way, how can we allow ourselves to get out of the way so that we let our own nature increase on increase and expand on expanding? So, it's our responsibility as healthy humans to become pillars, to become models for society of health, right? If
Mm.
you look at an organism, and you have a cancerous cell in that body, every cell around it starts to be affected and starts to die and lose electricity and lose energy. But if there's a healthy cell in the system, every other cell starts showing more energy, more electricity. And so I think that the easiest way that we can change consciousness is to allow ourselves to be at a greater level of health and energy and holding our vitality in every area of our life.
Thank you for sharing. Yeah, I see. Like you went into yoga and medicine, so probably a lot changed in your life. So I'm curious to know, was there any point where your friends and family thought you lost it, or what was the reaction?
I mean, I think it's a price you pay for authenticity, but I think I was lucky. When I was around 18 years old, I had someone gifted me The Laws of Success by Napoleon Hill.
Mm,
Not Think and Grow Rich, which is a shorter book. This is a big book, but I committed myself because I was aching. I didn't know what to do with my life. I was going to a private school because I was such a bad kid in a public school. My mom put me in a private school, but now I got kicked out and I had to pay for this super expensive school that was like my rent, as much as my rent in New York. I'm like doing everything I can to pay my bills. And I'm just like, a friend gave me this book and I read it. And one of the things it focuses on is like how suggestible we are, right? Like
mm,
the word, the path auto suggest we are suggestive beings, and our environment really influences who we become. And that just became like a way of me living my life. And so your family is one environment that you came here with. But if that environment isn't modeling the qualities that you wish to model, it is totally okay for you to choose to learn from people that are modeling the qualities that you choose to express at some point. So yes, I paid the price of being the crazy one, of being too out there. There's so many things that till this day people call me and they're like, "Oh, you weren't crazy. I was speaking about these things 10 years ago." And they're like, "Wow, this actually does work." And I was like, you paid the price. What has happened has been so beautiful is that there has been over the years, I've obviously have lost many friends, and I don't think you lost them. I think, just you conclude cycles finish with many, many
mm,
people. And I've been
mm,
moving a lot since I was, a child. So I've never lived in the same place more than 2 years. Has been, I feel like I'm a revolutionary. I'm a consistent, exchanging and shedding skin and changing identities. And I'm okay with that. And some people, they can't help but see you as the little girl you were before. And they want to
mm,
keep you into that role of like, your flaws, the ways that you thought. And so you will pay the price when you look different, when you think different, when you choose different, when you choose different environments, when you do weird things, like when you go by yourself again and again and again and go hiking and take 10 days here and 10 days there and
right.
sit with this plant medicine, and you will be, whatever it is, and you will be called a druggie and all the things. And I was like, you name it, you name it. I have, my mom sitting me down completely scared that I was gonna go and sell all my things and move to an ashram in India. And to the point that it's just like, it's okay that they have their fears and that they have their ideas, it's okay. It might be even healthy for them, and you can respect them without resisting.
Mm.
You don't have to fight, defend, or protect yourself. You can.
Was it challenging for you at that time to navigate through this journey?
Yes and no, because I had already been living by myself. I think that my challenge has been more to, wow, this is vulnerable, but to allow people in my journey to come with me on my journey, because I have been courageous enough to just move towards my journey. I mean, it's almost like I've had no choice. It's so like the calling has been so strong that it was just like, whether I'm in a relationship or I'm going this way, and I was with my previous relationship for 8 years. I was in a relationship with a beautiful human who is completely different than me, right? He comes from, working in some of the most amazing hedge funds and a partner of a hedge fund. And there I am, with my shaman drum. and yogi, and like taking my trips and going to Nepal and to India and Peru and all the things, and having that as like, okay, we can learn from one another without changing each other. That relationship was super healthy for me because it taught me how you can love without trying to change someone. And that's something super valuable. That's real love. And at the same time, it's like, oh, but we're not going in the same direction anymore. And so that also had its closing cycle. But I think that that judgment, and one of the things that I heard from him is like, can you tone it down? Can you just
Mm,
tone yourself down? It's just too much. And I was just like, boom, light beam. Okay, I get it. Like, this is the end of the cycle.
mm,
Beautiful and super painful. But yeah, thankfully, what the medicines teach you in a way is to learn to dance in the mystery, because it
mm.
is the practice of deep surrender. And if you can learn to surrender, purify. And if you can learn that there's chaotic, seemingly chaotic experiences because you do not know where the next step is going to land on. And you can just allow yourself to surrender all desire for control and open up your tri-eye and just be in the spirit of wonder and the high trust for your existence and for how nature likes to be alive, and that you have the capacity to be alive even in your grief. And if the grief needs to be alive, that you trust it and you let the portal open and you let it purify you. And so that has been I think one of the best gifts that I've ever gotten from my 10-year journey of walking a shamanic path. I'm a moon dancer too. This is going to be my 4th year dancing. And it's like through different tribes and through different traditions, it's like to honor what is, to honor the soil, to honor the darkness, to honor the process of recycling, to understand yourself as nature that forever has to go through decay in order to birth again. That the season is not your identity. It's beautiful that your blood is beautiful, like your tears are beautiful. To get honest with yourself as both divinity and primal animal, to understand that. Beautiful.
Love that. Beautiful. How you navigated through your journey.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing. Yeah. How would you guide younger Sandra in order to create this unshakable trust?
Mm.
The version that does not have that trust yet.
Well, to be honest, I'm still in the process of learning deep, deep trust. I think I'm mastering it, but there's still so much to learn, you know? Makes me,
What would
whew.
be that one statement that you'll share with her coming from your heart? Because there'll be a lot of young Sandras out there.
Yeah. Well, I would say it this way. Don't you think that it's incredible how you look at the birds in the sky and somehow they know where to go when the season ends, and they know like where to travel to without having a GPS, you know? And you look at the fish and the whales and the dolphins, and every season they know exactly where to go. And you look at the butterflies, they know exactly where to go. You look at the squirrels, so you see them in the fall, even though they have never been into a winter, they are putting away their seeds. It's this instinct in them. And we think, wow, they know how to give birth, they know how to do everything, but they've never done it. They don't have YouTube, and they know how to do all these things. It's incredible. The ocean, like nature is incredible. And we're just like, wow. But for some reason, the human ego thinks that we don't have that. No, and the ego doesn't show up just as like I'm too big. It also shows up as like I'm too little. And so what I'm speaking about is that to trust is to simply understand that you are an elemental animal being created by divinity that has an internal guiding system. That guiding system is run more than how animals go, because they are creatures. You are, yes, a creature, but you're so much more than a creature. You're a creator. You are a creator because you have imagination and insight. You have the capacity to change your state at will. And so to trust that not only do you have an internal guiding system, is that you have a wand, and that
Mm,
wand is your imagination. That want is your word. That want is your decision to put your energy in places that serve you. That is your want. That is how you create yourself. That is what you can trust. That you are a creator. That you're not just an animal with an internal guiding system, which you are. You have an internal guiding system. And oftentimes, what you need is a pause and to feel and to surrender to the moment, not to become, pickled in your feelings and like, oh, that poor me story, but to simply mind the lessons. What is this teaching me? What do I want? What do I desire? Because it's the feelings that are helping us see what's out of alignment. If you're feeling depressed, it's really good to sit with it, because it's your internal guiding system giving you an alarm. There's something not working here. If you're feeling overwhelmed, you have that perfect internal system that it's saying pay attention. And so if you listen to your own inner guidance and pause, that is how you trust that you are incredible. You are part of existence. You are worthy, not because you accomplish, you achieve, you wear this title, you speak here. No, you're worthy because you are life, and life is valuable. Life is existence. And so to become humbled enough to accept your divine inheritance, I think that trust that. I'd like to say that sometimes I don't trust myself. Don't trust little Sandra, but I trust self. I trust my capacity to tap into source. Why? Because I pause. It's like I know how to pause. And there's no one that can teach you or you can delegate that pausing, that listening. It is your own work. You can't order it on Amazon. You got to do it. You get to do it.
Although you,
Long,
yeah,
extended.
although you cheated with an essay, but I'm sure young Sandra would be very proud of you, of how far you have come and
Yeah.
the journey you have navigated. Beautiful.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
young Sandra had a lot of self-hatred. There was a lot of self-hatred. There was a lot of shame. There was a lot of blame. There was a lot of victimhood. There was a lot of giving my energy to other people because it felt easier than giving it to myself. So what I teach is things that I have practiced that have completely transformed my life. And I don't take that lightly. You can transform your life. You can learn to be in joy as you're taking the steps, not waiting until you arrive anywhere. Your arrival is your breath, is right here.
Hmm. Yeah, you share a lot of concepts, including lovership, energy ROI. What's the most profound concept that you have come across? Or, of course, you are creating it yourself. So, what is the main teaching that you impart?
Yeah. I think creation. I think
What's
it's
that
that.
interesting name? Give us the name.
um I think that to wake up to our choice, but the one that I've been really devouring on at a visceral level lately has been lovership. Like, what does it mean? What does that mean to move from leadership? I mean, I have been on this path of leadership and self-leadership and not waiting until anybody gives you permission to lead your life and take and make your own way in the world and lead yourself and make your choices and be empowered and be in your freedom. Now it's like that transformation of that leadership into lovership. And that is so personal and still so tender to me, because it's like the willingness to put your relationships at the core center of your life, to put the things that matter to you, the people that like at the core center of your life. Yes, that means if it takes me off, having another client call, yes. That means if like they are the priority. And the way that we become good at lovership is to take the responsibility of going on our own healing journey. And that whole healing journey means to become aware of the wounding that is making us attract similar patterns, to become aware of how our mind was developed and who we think like unconsciously, who have we absorbed how they think, to become aware of how our emotions and our nervous system was wired, and to keep exploring that, and to feeling like at the core level, what is the wound that I always feel no matter what it is, that is like this empty space that it's always like a longing that we all humans have inherited. We all have this longing, this like need to reach, that need to touch, that need to connect.
Hmm.
And when you sit with that anxiety, that subtle, for some people, very powerful anxiety, and go and do the work of our own wounding, and we still feel that it's there. We still feel that
Hmm.
there's layers of that. And I believe that is the space that only God can fill. You know,
Hmm.
it's like a hole inside of us that only source can fulfill. And that when we are in creation, when we are in true service from an empty place, from a place of I'm no longer trying to have you fill me, or I'm trying to get from you and trying to extract validation, but you do the work to become empty so you can have the eyes of wonder. And it's in that spaciousness, again, we go back to space. It's in that spaciousness when you feel that you are loving and that you're creating contribution and that you're feeling that because of that space and that longing, you create poetry, you create beauty, and you share your love because it's wanting to connect, because that is what nature does. Nature is forever trying to connect and create greater levels of wholeness and intimacy. And when we, instead of thinking of that wound as something bad, but we can become comfortable in like, wow, that's the birthplace of beauty, right? That is the thing that makes us be in our art. And when we allow ourselves to be, the makers of our own garden and make everything more beautiful, to make every interaction have more meaning, to give people the dignity to be seen.
In very simple terms, what does the lover do that the leader doesn't? Like, what transformation happens, like from the leadership to the lovership? I would love to
The
see, understand your
leaders are
concept.
going first. Thank you. Leaders are going first. They are guiding the tribe. Beautiful.
And
Love it. Right?
uh-huh.
In lovership, you are devoting yourself. You're in reverence. You are in
To whom?
ceremony
To whom? To
to
yourself?
life.
To life?
There's only
To
one person
everything?
in the room,
Yeah.
right? Like it's just like whatever you do to your tree is you in relationship with yourself. There's nobody
Right.
else to live in that state of I have an event on Sunday called returning to Eros. Right? What is to return to Eros? It's the same conversation, is to return to being, to living in lovership, to return to being, to what does Eros mean if we take it away from just a sexual way of being in erotism, but like to understand that there is this magnet in life, that is feeling between the positive and the negative, that is this desire to connect, this desire to touch, this desire to be penetrated and also to penetrate, to this, that at a evolutionary biology, every cell is doing that. Every particle of life is doing that. That it is to be a lover, it starts at a cellular structure, and to
so the
recognize.
leader, so the leader is loving others, and you said
Love,
is
the
taking
lover
care
is
of the.
loved. In lovership, you're loving. You're in love. You're experiencing eros. You're coming alive. You're in vitality. You're in reverence. You're caring about the heart, not just the mind. You're leading.
See,
You're using the
yes.
mind to follow the heart. In leadership, you're leading with concepts. You're leading with beautiful insights and information. You're putting things together. You're architecting. In lovership, you're using your heart as the interior
Mm.
energy, the interior designer of your life.
The GPS.
Everything, yes, that you are allowing yourself to make everything have intention, meaning, to have eros, to
Mm.
have that, the vitality of being.
Beautiful. Thank you for simplifying it. Now it really makes sense. What's the role of presence in your life, and how it affects your manifestations? How you manifest your life?
I feel like that topic of manifestation is such a like a word, in like the spiritual community.
Mm-hmm.
But it's missing something, and what is
Yeah.
missing is what we're doing with our life. What are we doing when we're not present, right? It's not just like a create the vision board. It's like, no, it's like, what do I do? How do I be? That is manifestation, that you're never getting. And why is presence? For me, presence is the beginning state and the ending state of everything. There is no other way to connect to existence. When we are speaking about that that empty that only God can fill, that's what I'm speaking about. You got to get present. You got to be right there, because if not, you can't sense it. You can't feel it unless you pause, unless you be with it. And that being with what is what allows you to have greater capacity to experience the intensity of this moment. Because when you develop great presence, it can feel very intense. And intense doesn't necessarily mean bad. I mean, sometimes I need people to help me hold my joy. It's like I need some support in holding all this joy. And sometimes presence is the place where where you start to become. Like, it's like you have two parts of consciousness. One is being, one is becoming. The being is the beginning space for everything. The being is like the womb of creation. Being is of a state of presence. It's like you can't shoot an arrow unless you find your stance. You got to find your stance. You got to know where you are in order to know where you're going. You can't put the destination without putting where you are at. And so
Mm,
presence is recognizing at, and when you recognize the now and delight in it, now you can choose where I'm going. Many people are in complete distraction and avoidance of like where they're at. And so having the consistent practice of arrival to presence is like a way of landing in joy, right? Landing in ourselves, landing, feeling our breath, feeling our wants, feeling what's a yes, feeling what's a not right now, feeling everything, feeling. I think that you can experience without presence, and we are here to experience. So yeah.
beautifully said. Yeah. Presence is the only state of being. It's the only life there is. Everything else is the
Hmm.
absence of life. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Tell me a little bit about how do you experience presence, Vish?
In this phase, I feel presence is the only thing that brings me back to the life that's there. Other than that, it's all missing. Like I'm missing life. I'm in the past, I'm in the future.
Mhm.
But when I'm present, I'm able to see what life is serving me, like what experiences are there in front of me. And that's that's what I connect with manifestation as well, because manifestation is not something you do, it's something you are. So when you
Mm.
come back to yourself through presence, and that's been my lesson in this phase, like really deeply being in presence through medicine journeys as well.
Yeah,
And when I
yeah.
experience that, I see a different level of life happening, because not only am I so enriched, I'm feeling so good in how I live life, but everything is coming because there's nothing to do. It's simply life is flowing through me, so everything is coming, and you simply need to experience life, because that's the main intention of the creator experiencing itself through the creation, that you come here to experience it, not to do something, not to strive for something, not to get something, because everything is there, everything what you desire is there. So all the manifestations are happening in the present moment, in the now.
Yeah, boom. To become aware of, that's why they call it the gift, the present.
Mm-hmm.
The present is the gift. And you touched on something which a lot of people suffer from, which is being stuck in depression, which is like being in pickling yourself in your story of what has happened to you and like all of that. And a lot of people come to me because they want to get rid of patterns, and they want to get rid of things in their mind. And I think what's more important is to develop who you're being, right? Which can only be in the now, which can only be in the present. And of course, doing the rewiring work is highly important. And I'm grateful that people come to this. But it's not to get rid of things, it's to integrate them. And we can only integrate them through our presence, right? And when we can integrate them, we can mine some beautiful gifts that we can activate now, not tomorrow, not one day, but now. And then if your mind is also like a million hours per hour just planning and thinking, you're missing the gift also, then that's how we develop anxiety and nervousness because we are just not allowing ourselves to enjoy. And so I really love that as a, just like watching the the joy in your eyes is just like, just like everything, like giving everything meaning. I think that presence is a way of experiencing lovership. You can
Mm,
receive life or receive another if you can fully land right here in your body, in this moment, in this breath. I love it. Thank you.
mm, thank you for asking. Yeah, and interesting that we are talking about manifestation and presence. And in one of my plant medicine journeys, I got to meet and experience the frequency of abundance. And in India, we call her Lakshmi. And she came to guide me and really
Yeah.
activate that code within me. And she left me with a message that what is the abundance frequency? And that is presence, pure presence. And that's where you find your purpose and joy. That's the frequency of abundance.
Mm.
Like when you're in pure presence and in joy. And when I understood
Yeah.
that, I'm like,
Yeah.
wow, like you just need to be here and enjoy, nothing else
Yeah.
to do. And when
And
I started
I
doing
just
that,
love
you
that
know,
so much. I love that. Yeah. Which is so simple. It's almost so simple that people are always looking for that thing that's hard because, if it's hard, your conditioning has said you have to work hard for it. But it's so simple that if you pause at any moment of your life, you could be going through a heartache, and in that moment, you just take a deep breath and you just recognize that right now you have everything you need right here. And that even when you have a aching heart, you can still be joyful because we are multidimensional beings, that we can have seeming different experiences happening all at once. And not
mm,
because you're going through a difficult time in your life does it mean that you have to shut down your moments of joy or your joy as a frequency of who you are. Right? To be in joy is to allow yourself to experience. It's not rah rah ha 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 all the time. It's to allow yourself to take in life, right? To be able to look at life with the eyes of an artist is to be able to find the beauty in everything and then invite other people to see it like you see it. It's just like it's
mm-hmm,
beautiful. But you can't there's always something you can do to activate your presence and your joy. And so much of presence and joy is like sensitize yourself to become more aware of this present moment, right? Through your eyes, your ears, your senses, your like what is it that you know because you've been doing it since you were a child that you can do at any point that puts you in a good mood, that makes you
mm,
feel activated, whether that's painting, writing, going to nature, singing, taking a bath, whatever it is. We all know it. And yet we have been somehow believing this story that you have to earn it. And so, you got to wait until you get there, get the guy, get the girl, get the job, whatever it is next. And it's such a missed opportunity because it's like
mm-hmm,
you're thinking about physics, right? Like attracts like. You're
mm-hmm,
always going to be drawing to you the energy that is like you, like the vibration. You're tuning yourself into a vibrational state. And it's in
mm-hmm,
that vibrational state that you create coherence, right? Like another way for to speak about the law of attraction, I find it better to talk about the law of coherence. That there's a law of coherence out there.
mm-hmm.
If you start not paying attention to the abundance you have because you want it to be this number in the bank, but you're not thinking about, wow, today I had the gift of having dinner with my mom, and I had the gift of going to the ocean, and I had the gift of going to the sauna, and that is abundance. Being in this incredible, healthy, sexy body. Like, gosh, like pay attention that abundance comes through all these different things. And the more gratitude and delight we have for, seemingly small, is like we can use all those moments that seem like they don't matter to activate our vibration, right? To activate the artist in us, to see life more beautifully.
And how I like to see it is we are electromagnetic beings, and we have these two poles, which are electric and magnetic. So when we are in the presence, the electric, the intention is inward. So the magnetism is outward. You're attracting everything. Once you
Yummy.
are outward and away from the presence, the magnetism is inward. So you're not attracting anything. It's like you are trying to make things happen. So it's literally just going inward and in the presence and in the joy. That's
Uh,
when it activates, the magnet activates the other pole of
I
the.
love that. That's so beautiful, Rish. Wow.
Mm.
Gem, pearl, love it.
With the joy, I see you celebrate dancing and moving when you accomplish some task. Why is that important for
Yeah,
you?
same thing, right? It's just like whatever, like we don't celebrate enough, and it's so important to remind ourselves that there's no special occasion to celebrate. Like the special occasion can be, I did, the things on my to-do list. I checked off some boxes. I worked out, and I think that as often as we can to laugh, to dance, if we're with a partner that make love, to eat well, to do it for us, and to do it also for the people that can't or the people that won't, to eat a meal and to enjoy our luxury, to enjoy whatever it is, to never feel sorry or less because you are activating your joy. Because if you're thinking about what we shared before, it's like it's the same thing. Is putting the energy up, and all the cells around you will benefit from it. So your light, we all animals are drawn to light. Like your light creates more light in the world. So like what are the things that make you have vitality? Celebrate in that way. Like don't miss the opportunity of coming alive because, you're waiting for the event or you're waiting until you get, right? It's more important to do it in the journeying, like the journeying, right? It's like, how many times have you gotten a degree, gotten a job, did the thing, put the letter in, spoke at the thing, and it was in hindsight was the journey there, right? It was like all those lessons, all those training, all the thing, like, so make sure that your journey is designed in a way that has like has reverence and celebration just because. That's how I think about it. How do you celebrate?
How do I celebrate? I love to sing now. Like I've started singing a lot, so
Yeah.
I love to sing. I love to play guitar. I love to play handpan when
Yeah.
it's there. It's not here yet, but yeah, it's been my part of celebrating and bringing joy in my life along with the presents, and I
Yeah,
absolutely
I
love
love
it.
that. Like, I know that it's a good sign that you're doing what you're meant to be doing when you naturally want to burst out in song, or in dance
Uh-huh.
or handstanding. Like, I practice my handstand sometimes after I'm in a conversation with a client and we did, they find that aha, they're like, and for me, it's just like, oh, yes, it's like songs, my chants, like I'm forever doing, practicing my prayers and how beautiful it is to invite other people to use their voices, use their bodies. Like, yes, if art is not for the artist that we put up there in a pedestal, is to be reclaimed, is to be honored as an inheritance. In tribal times, we all came together to do the trauma work, dancing and singing and vibrating high and vibrating high. And then people like were and clear of their energy. So whatever you can do to optimize, I'm so big on optimizing for energy. Like that is a way that I optimize for energy. Neurologically, I'm teaching myself that I'm self-rewarding to allow new habits to get encoded in a way that is enjoyable to me. So I use
Mm.
my celebration as a way to give myself rewards and give my brain rewards for the things that I told myself I was going to do. It's right. It's like honoring our word. It's
Mm.
amazing.
You're gonna handstand after this?
Maybe
Maybe. What song makes you move every time?
everything. What song doesn't make
Everything. Life.
everything? Yeah. I mean,
Life
I
itself.
life
Life is a song.
itself. Life is every song.
Beautiful. That. Okay, what message do you have for someone listening who's done the inner work but still feels stuck?
You do not need more insight. What I mean by that is that insight does not create transformation. What you need is to make decisions and to act on those decisions. You do not need to be confident in order to get going. You have confidence as the side effect of your continuously you coming up for whatever that is. You do not need to feel ready to get going. You learn to feel comfortable in the new shoes by showing up on a consistent basis. Don't wait until it is comfortable. Be proud that you can move with discomfort.
Beautiful. I want you to feel this one. When you hear the words reality unlimited, what comes up for you?
Everything can change. Everything is possible. It is an illusion. The indoctrination that we have been giving, it's an illusion. You get to create your own path. You get to find your tribe. You get to walk alone for a while and then find your people. You get to allow yourself to be drawn to the things that is giving you both curiosity and focus. And you get to have goals so that they can shape your character, but not so that you can attach to the outcome, because it will never be how you imagine it, but it's a really good way to channel your energy. It can also be way better. So allow yourself to learn to let go of control and keep showing up for what matters to you. Tries along the way. It's like a good mountain to
Mm.
hike a mountain, like delight in the journey. It's like you never want to just get to the mountain. You want to learn to love the hiking. I'm a hiker, right? So I just like love the journey. It's on the way up. Look at everything. Pay attention. Like be in awe. Like it will take you through some incredible unforeseen places. You will forget. You will get to some destinations that you forgot you really wanted to get to, and you will be amazed of how it never forgot that you wanted to get there. It is
Um,
incredible. It is incredible.
mm, I love your passion for life, and it shows from how you express yourself. It's beautiful. For someone
Yeah.
who feels called to go deeper with you, where can they find you?
They can go to my website, sandratru.com. I'm very active on social media. They can find me on Instagram at Sandra, TRU underscore, Sandra Tru underscore. They can look me up on YouTube, The True Human Experience. They can get a freebie from me, which will essentially get new blogs every day on their newsletter. I have a beautiful practice that people can use to self identify more with the essence of who they are. And it's a practice that with the intention is for them to listen to it a few times, but then to put it in their back pocket as their own tool to keep coming into presence, to keep coming into their choice. And it's called a soul set meditation. Soul set is the system that I've developed over the years. And it's super powerful. It's 7 minutes. And the short part of it is that you train yourself to just have the short version of it, which can be done in 30 seconds. So they can
Mm.
also, I'll share that with you so you can put it on the show notes.
And you have a 7-day alignment challenge as well. Do you want to
I
share
have a
that?
7-day alignment challenge.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Uh-huh.
they can also sign up for that. And yeah, I have a purposeful living journal with really powerful questions that will take you into making some beautiful choices for your energy and your life. They're very powerful. I can share that so people can get some goodies from this conversation for sure.
Yeah, Sandra has some amazing goodies. I'm gonna leave the links in the podcast description. Thank you so much, Sandra.
Thank you so much, Rich.
It was beautiful.
Yeah.
And for the one listening until the end, thank you for tuning in, and we trust you received what you were meant to receive. See you next week.
Oh, ciao, ciao.
Oh, take care. Whatever shifted in you, trust it. If this landed for you, someone in your life needs to hear it too. Find me on Instagram at I am Rish Gupta. Your reality is unlimited.